Today, we're going to be teaching you something that I want you to take some notes on, because we'll be talking about this again throughout the semester. Yeah, that's yours to keep. I don't want it back again. So, first off, you're pulling out your notebooks. First thing I put on my agenda for today is I want you to spend 10 minutes free writing on your topic, problem solution essay. So actually, we're gonna have I'm gonna make it 5 minutes. Actually, though, so I'll stop you at 9:10. It's 9:05 right now. I just want you to just write out your thoughts on your problem solution essay. Okay. Similar to what we just did when you're writing a paper, just in general, free writing. Yeah. All right. And so raise your hand if it has a new experience for you. You don't usually do that. Yeah. New experience. New experience. Okay. So what did you think? What did you think about it? You get some good ideas down? It's kind of the foundation of writing. Okay. And what did you think about it? I'm curious, for the ones that raised their hand and said, it's a new thing for me. I'm just kind of curious if you thought it maybe could be beneficial. Or, yeah. Okay. So what we just did basically is a creative exercise dealing with the problem solution paper. Now, of course, depending on what you wrote down, how you feel about those ideas, you will either discard what we just did, what you just wrote, and start over, start again if you don't like it. 2, you will maybe type it up, and that might form the foundation for your paper. Or 3, maybe you'll just reread it a few times and think through, okay, why am I saying this particular thing? And then go from there. But this kind of activity is really an important part of the process of creating great writing, creating a good paper, so yeah, it's something that like for me, I use a journal a lot. I write a lot in a journal, and then some of those ideas I write about in my journal I turn into more professional types of documents. But I'm going to look later on in class. I want to look at some specific introductions from the problem solution essays from this class and give some specific feedback. Hold on a second. So one of the things that I want to emphasize today is that one of the goals of writing in higher education, as I see it, is to be creative. And I don't know if that's similar to how you think of writing in higher education or not, but it's definitely how I think of writing in higher education. Or in other words, another way of putting that is, in my personal opinion, as a professor, but also as former student, my personal opinion is that the people who get the most A's in college tend to be the ones that are most creative in their thinking. Well, you may say, well, I'm not a creative writer. I'm not talking about like being a poet and stuff. I'm talking about just approaching any assignment creatively. And I think that this benefits you not just in school, but in the workplace. Like, I don't know if any of you are impressed by like Steve Jobs. Right? Anybody in here impressed by Steve Jobs and his success?
Yeah.
I am, and I think he's a creative thinker, and he's just one example I would turn to. Like for me personally, another person that I'm impressed with his success and the way he approaches his work is another famous person is like Will Smith. And so, but there's lots of examples and people who you were impressed with, and you think that they're good role models for successful people. We may have some different people, you and I, in our minds, but we probably have some common ground, like with similar qualities we're looking for. And so I think that if you want to make a lot of money, or you want to be a teacher, or if you want to go to graduate school, that you need to practice what educators refer to as higher order thinking skills. Okay, higher order thinking skills. And that's what I have written on the board here, is a diagram. This is something that is based on some research that's been done on education. So, like I said, if any of you are planning on being educators, K through 12, you'll study this in your education major. But this is what's called Bloom's taxonomy. And Benjamin Bloom was a researcher in the middle of the 1900s, and him and a group of people created what is often referred to as Bloom's taxonomy. But a taxonomy is just a system of classifying things, and they tried to classify what's really important in education. And so I'm going to explain what Bloom's taxonomy is, and then I'm going to tie it back to our problem solution essay and tell you how keeping this tool in mind can help you write more effectively. So in Bloom's taxonomy, and it was originally created like in the 1950s, and this, what's on the board, is what I want you to be writing in your notes, just to be abundantly clear. Because this is what I'm going to be referring to again later on in the semester. So it's not just going to be like a one-time lecture, like this is Bloom's taxonomy. Now we're going to talk about something else next week. I'll keep coming back to Bloom's taxonomy because I think it's important. So, Tuan, what's one of your goals in writing this paper?
To make my problem and possible solutions.
Okay. To state your problem and possible solutions. Let me ask you another question along those lines. Why did you choose this particular topic, littering?
It was something I felt like
Okay. And is it a topic that you care about? Okay. So if I asked you today to donate $5 that I promise you I will put towards like an organization that's going to reduce littering in Birmingham, would you be willing to consider that?
Yeah, I would consider.
Okay. Okay. And so why am I asking Tuan these questions? A few years ago when I was teaching at Florida State University, I had a student who gave us a persuasive speech. The assignment was to give a persuasive speech. And so one of my students decided she would write her persuasive speech trying to persuade the class not to text and drive. She did a pretty good persuasive speech. At the end of the persuasive speech, I asked her, just out of curiosity, do you text and drive? And she said, oh yeah, I do it all the time. Now, I want you to think about what your topic means. Again, thinking about the telescope effect and that book that somebody's out there reading right now because they're interested in the ideas. I want you to think about how people are going to interpret the ideas, and including how you present yourself in your essay. There needs to be a rhetorical context what you write about, meaning you need to tell your audience, like, this is why you should care about this. Like, Tuan, you need to convince me to care about littering in Birmingham for your paper to be successful. And same would go for everybody in the room. So